We are live. We should be anyway. Hello, Patreon. Hello, Patreon. And it is, let me get this right, Michael Geary, everyone.
Hi! Hello, everyone.
It's going to be Actor Chat. Act Chat. Chatting. I hope
Chatting.
I have, as you all know, my skills with an internet are not terribly good. So if for whatever reason you cannot hear us, or see us, or feel us in your very soul, then please do let us know. But otherwise, it's very good to see you all, and thank you for jumping on. Actually, we got 10 of you in the room, which is fabulous. That's really great. So hello, welcome. So we're going to just have a pretty loose chill out. We're going to hang out with you guys, shoot some shit, not all of it, and talk about probably acting, but who knows? Who knows, Mike? Who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It could be literally anything.
It could be.
Or not.
It could be.
It could be. It's going to be a load of bullshit in it.
But there.
Yeah. Are we going to? When do we talk about farts?
Let's not.
Obviously, that's where
we could do. We could
down.
just not bury the lead and jump straight into Flatulence Corner, but we shall see. So, what have you been? You've been up to some stuff today. I've been up to some stuff today. Why don't you go first, if you can?
Well, the stuff I've been up to today was being a bit of ADR work for an unnamed television project that I'm not allowed to talk about. But it was a lot of fun, and as I was realizing when you're doing that ADR stuff, which is when some people, you probably know this, but it's when you've done some filming and they need to clean a few lines up or add some lines in for technical reasons or clarity. You go into a usually really posh studio. I mean, these recording studios are so. I mean, the recording booths are bigger than my flat. They're so nice, and they got nicer sofas. It's really depressing when you kind of walk back into your hovel on the outskirts of London. But you go in and you watch yourself on screen, usually for the first time, and then you have to speak so they can place it, and also known as looping.
Mm-hmm.
It was great, although it is weird seeing myself on screen. I don't like looking at it. It's not pretty, but you have to get over that and get on with the job. But it was a lovely day, and for a little while I felt like I was, in the biz. People asking me if I wanted coffee and all that kind of stuff.
That's nice. Where did you? Can you say where it was?
Yeah. Oh, the studio is Molyneux.
Yes.
In Swinging Carnaby Street, or near Swinging Carnaby Street.
That's
anyway.
cool, man. That's cool. Yeah, I did some looping at Lip Sync, which is sorry, my phone is talking to me. Lip Sync, which is in Soho. So it's pretty posh, yeah.
Is it posh?
Yeah, it is pretty posh, yeah.
They always are.
I have to say.
They always are. It's so nice. And you just want to hang out.
I know, it's one of those things where it's like, can I just stay here? Maybe. I did probably the night or the most salubrious was probably Shepperton in one of their proper theatres that they have.
I'm going to have to leave you just for one moment. I'll be back in a mo.
Very good.
I'll be back. I'm sure someone said that once. I don't know. Bye.
So Mike is waiting for his shopping to arrive. I'm just going to check that you guys are still getting us, because I think you're all right. Okay, it just looks very janky on my end, and I apologise if it is. It is usually my home broadband that gets a bit squiffy, so my apologies if that's what's going on. Yes, let's see what people are saying. Sam asks, what martial arts style do you both specialise in? Well, since Mike is not here and currently engaging in Deliveroo Monkey Hidden Tiger, I don't specialise in a martial art. I simply don't. I have done fight training and fight choreography and that kind of thing, but it's only for show. It's not really I'm not Willard. I just pretend to be. Excuse me so much. Winkling Exchange says Touchly Bleed trailer looking pretty special, guys. Thank you very much. Yes, that little teaser dropped. We're going to be releasing a full-on trailer in a matter of days, so watch out for that. That's going to be really fun. And Mike and I can, if you guys have any questions about that, we can tell you a few things. I should think about that. But we've both had sort of fairly good news over the last sort of few days, I think, in terms of acting projects that we have coming up, including one that we are going to be doing together, so that's very exciting. What else? Who else? There's Omar. Hey Omar, he says, Duncan, have you seen the No Time to Die spoilers? Are you talking about I'm assuming you're talking about I don't know why Mike's window's gone massive. I'm just going to shrink that back down. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. There he is.
Because I like a massive window.
Okay. He's jumping all over the place. Nice jumping all over the place. Right.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. Sorry about that, everyone. I just had to get my weekly supply of Malbec and Port Salut.
Speaking of, I was just telling everyone that we've both had some quite exciting things come through of late. Most of which we can't talk about. But we are going to be working together, which is very cool, on something else. So that's super, super exciting and awesome. Yeah, it's very cool. You've got a very exciting project, which again we cannot talk about, but is for a very well recognised television project. I don't know why your window keeps going big and small. Are you looking at porn?
I'm not touching nothing, mate. I'm not doing anything. I promise.
I did nothing, mate.
I'm not touching anything to do with the computer.
That's what you think.
But yes, I have done a thing, and it's going to be great. And when I'm allowed to talk about it, I will be telling everyone because it's quite exciting. I think it's going to be good fun. And yes, the exciting thing about doing that looping that I was talking about earlier is that when you go along, you go, oh well, that means I'm in it. They haven't cut me out, which is exciting because there's that actor's paranoia. Like you spend however long on a project, and then they'll sort of see your elbow in like one scene. That's it. I don't know why I did that. You probably know what an elbow looks like.
Well, it's good to be reminded. One of the other things that they often do with it is that you'll go in and they'll be like, here's a shot at the back of your head. We'd like to completely rewrite your character and if you could just say, right, I'm out of it, bye. Then we'll just leave it at that.
Shoot me first. I want to die first. That's what your character's now saying. What?
But I've got a 5-episode arc. Because I did dubbing at Shepperton. That was pretty cool. That was for Erica, and that was it was weird because it was like, it may as well not have been, but it was a huge theatre with a big cinema screen in it, and that's what you kind of looked at. But then the booth, they had a little booth off the back of it in the room, but kind of to the side, and you really didn't. You just looked at a small monitor. So
why was
it's there for, like, I guess, like the producers and the directors and everyone to look at, but you as the actor only get a small thing. But then I also, when I was at Lip Sync in Soho, that was a weird experience because I was brought in to dub someone else. So I was, that was a curious process, but that was fun. But I had to match his. I had to sync to him when he's on camera because it's all one big take. So it was like I had to say a bunch of stuff. When he had his back to us, that was okay. But there was a moment where he crossed camera and you could see the side of his face, so I had to like match that. And then he marches off and he's gesticulating with his arms, so I had to kind of put stuff in that felt credible with that. Yeah. So that was
It's
cool.
It's disconcerting, isn't it, when you have to do so because you realise that you have to match your physicality with the physicality of what you're doing in that moment, which is fun, but also it is quite odd. But the other thing is just, I don't know if you still get that thing where you're looking at yourself going, do I do that? Your internal idea of what you are and what you look like and how you move, and then suddenly there's this weird, strange thing gesticulating around, and I was just kept looking at myself today going, do I walk like that? Why do I walk like that?
I do, because I think more with me, it's more the thing where I kind of think I mean, it depends on the size of the part, because sometimes if it's a decent part, I can't remember all of the days. But if it's one where I only had a few days or something, I'm always quite mindful of that. I'm like, I put a lot into it, so I'm like, yeah, that take, I thought I nailed that take, and then you see it back and you're like, oh god, that's awful. Yeah. And then it's the times when I'm kind of like, oh, I'm into this, like, which is rare. But it's like when I do, I go, oh, that must have been when I just wasn't thinking about it and I was just doing whatever, you know. But yeah, some things land, some things don't. I think it's always really hard. You can't be objective about it, so it's kind of. And then you know, if you look back at your review, when you get reviews and stuff, they'll be mixed and weird, and I don't know. It's you can't. You kind of have to just take it off and put it down and forget about it.
It is, and it's weird when you're doing things that are slightly higher profile, because you know that some of these things have a fan base who are, what's the best way to put it? Intense.
I won't say what I was going to say. Slippery of.
But you're like, wow, what are they going to make of it? It's a really odd thing.
Yeah. Well, I could say my wife is a fan of said show. I don't think that's too spoilerific, because people don't know what's on. I can always, always run it by her. But yeah, no, it's. I know what you mean, because I'm kind of doing something. I still don't know that many details about it, but I know this weekend and into next week I'm now on something which is quite exciting, with opposite an actor who's quite, recognisable, shall we say, and well known, and who I grew up watching. So I'm quite apprehensive but excited, but blah blah blah, and I don't know anything, so it's kind of just going to be a.
It's going to be great, man. That's going to be. I'm very excited for you, but I'm more excited that we're going to get to work together again, because I had such a lovely time when we were when we worked on Type Till You Bleed. It was such a because I've seen your work before, because we have lots of mutual friends and in each of things, and to go, that's great, I want to work with him. So actually getting that chance was really lovely, and it didn't disappoint. In fact, it was like we almost had too much fun, because we kept laughing all the time.
Yeah,
and that's nice.
No, and likewise here, absolutely the same. And I kind of remember thinking, well, how have I not worked with you before? Because obviously we'd met a bunch of times at screenings and stuff, usually at the BFI. Which is where I just assumed Mark Price lived for the longest time.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he hollowed out through the walls there, and he's got a nest. He's got a little nest.
Some sort of what's the film where the guy lives in the wall? There's a few of those.
There's a few. It's a bit like the X-Files, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tombs. The stretchy guy, but I think Mark he's got a nest that's made of chewed up newspaper and his own guano.
I can well imagine. Yes, so he's not watching, hopefully. But because I haven't sent.
Well, if he is,
I haven't sent him the link.
Oh no!
I can do that now. I might do that now. Yes. So yes. So no. It's gonna be fantastic, and that again, that's another very exciting project, because it's quite big. It's bigger than I've worked on with Mark before. Is in terms of budget and scope and everything, so I'm super excited to be doing it.
And what's really good with him and his films is that he can make like a 50 grand look like $500,000, and he's just so. I mean, he's so knowledgeable about shots and all that kind of stuff anyway, and he's got such a good DOP. The sound brilliant. So he always raises his game. It's just good that he's got a bigger project to work on, because it'll just get better and better, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree, and him, because Sam's doing this one again, isn't he? Sam shot Fistful of Red. He's fantastic.
He's brilliant.
Again, both of them very much know how to grab what they need, which is and I think as well, I really appreciate working with people who you have that shorthand with, who you get what they want, and you go, okay, yeah, boom, boom, boom. And Mark's very good at like knowing what he wants and not stopping till he gets it, because I don't like it when you got a director who sort of seems to just be settling. And
no, and that's never Mark's style ever. No, he's it's really interesting because obviously we both know him very well, but when when he's working, his brain shifts into a slightly different place. And it's really interesting to watch. And that's because as he's shooting, he's also editing the whole thing in his head, which is I don't know how he does
evenings,
that.
doesn't he? He'll grab a beer and just sit there and start editing it. It's like it's crazy. Like he just doesn't stop.
He's got a very special brain. But he's brilliant. He's brilliant.
I suppose let's look at some of the questions from people in El Chateau. Carl Goddard. Oh well, actually, sorry. Omar asked me if I'd seen the No Time to Die spoilers before, and I started to answer, but I failed to finish. Are you talking? I think it was a CinemaCon thing where they released 9 minutes of the opening pre-titles or pre-credit scene. I haven't seen those, but I'm kind of just thinking, well, I'll just wait for the film because it looks like it's going to happen next month. We'll probably be filming by then, but
we may very well
sneak off. Me and you can sneak off to the cinema and see James Bond. But it's very exciting, all of that. So yes, in fact, a little clue: the person I'm working with at the weekend is a Bond alumni. So there you go. Say no more. Say no more.
Is it Jaws? Is it Jaws? It's
Jaws.
It's Jaws.
Of Richard Keel, yeah.
Excellent. Wow.
You got it. You know it.
Those henses can do anything nowadays, don't
Andrew Case says he's going to see Candyman on Saturday. I saw the trailer. There was a new trailer for that that came out. Have you seen? Are you a Candymanist or not? Yeah.
For me, I loved the
Yes.
original. Yeah, I remember watching that and just being I thought Tony Todd is brilliant. Virginia Madsen was fantastic in it. I love that film. And in this new version seems to, because it was already pretty. It was already discussing social issues in the original one, and I believe that the story that it's based on is a Clive Barker story, and it was actually set in an estate in Liverpool.
Yeah, and it wasn't. The Candyman wasn't. It didn't have its roots in slavery. The Candyman was a sort of an amalgamation. He was like a patchwork of people. It was almost a Frankenstein's monster.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But they've taken it, I think they've taken that issue that they explored in the '90s one, and they're really running. Yeah,
because I know it's had a lot of like, it's woke and all this sort of stuff, but it's kind of like, it always was though in a way. Like you kind of have to look at it like. That's what they were talking about before, and so I think it's kind of it makes it because I think they're leaning into the whole "it could be anyone" thing now, which makes sense. It's the legend that is born out of suffering and injustice, isn't it? That's what it was.
Yes.
So sweets to the sweet. Yeah. The whole thing about it isn't it taken from the golden syrup jar of the bees feeding on the lion, and that being about. And that's kind of where it all came from. I don't know, but I do. It's a loose enough concept that you can certainly do that with. But I think allegorically they're still talking about the same thing. So no, it looks it looks very interesting and it looks very different. But I know in the new trailer they talk a lot about Virginia Madsen's character and stuff. So it is very much looking at that original film. And it's got. What's her name? The woman, she was in the first one who plays the mum whose kid gets taken. What's her name? Someone will say.
I cannot remember.
Someone will say. Anyway, she's in it.
Maybe.
So anyway, but no, looks cool. I'm down. It's going to be good. The sequels were. The second one was. The third one was. I didn't see it.
Candyman 2, Farewell to the Flesh.
Which is Carnival, isn't it? It's a literal translation of Carnival.
Oh. Check you out. Is that a whiskey you're drinking?
Naughty,
I want some. What is it?
Very nice. Glenfiddich, 15-year-old single malt from Scotland. Yes.
Very good.
It's very good. It is very good. It's very nice, actually. My favourites. Nice middle of the road. Yeah.
More of a Lefroy man myself, for
you
sure.
Like a PT, do you?
Oh, I do, yeah. Smoky. I love that Islay shit. You know what I mean? Oh, I love that Islay shit. Lovely.
Actor, are you? Yeah. Get
oh yeah. Get out! Get out!
What was it? Alfie the pub bore from the Fast Show. Do you remember? Man and boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, my friend. I did a film with a guy years ago called John, who was a fantastic actor, and he and I just did that at each other all the time. And then once he just turned to me and he went, "Actor, are you? Gay, are you?" And that was it. I was in pieces. It was very
Brilliant.
Not to stereotype, of course. Did you go? Wing Kong Exchange asked, did we see the new Spider-Man trailer? Opens up a few cans of worm. Yeah, I did see that. It will be interesting. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be. Brad's in the chat. He says I might not be in the country. Sad face. I think that in reference to what the James Bond release, perhaps that would be a shame. So I'll live stream it from my phone, Brad. No one will know. The Spider-Man trailer. Yes, saw the Spider-Man trailer. Looks cool. I'm quite a fan of the Tom Holland version of Spider-Man, so I think that's quite cool.
I'd rather see a Tom Hollander version of Spider-Man. I think that would be amazing.
Well, yes, we can dream. Well, this is the multiverse version, so anything could happen.
I would love that very much. I've been enjoying the What Ifs on Disney Plus. I like them. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I mean it's great that they're exploring that kind of stuff because I think it's why not? I think at this point, especially, I mean, DC needs to get on that because there's so many different versions of Batman and Superman, and it's like, come on.
Yeah, it would be great to see them do the Injustice series, which would be very interesting. But they're still finding their feet.
Brad said he's going to the wedding of the producer of the new Jeepers Creepers next week. Okay.
Right.
As you do. Presumably
great.
That's in Mississippi. No. I think it was. Anyway, very cool. Very cool.
Very nice. It'd be hot if you're going like that side of the states at this time of year.
Strap on your big boy gooch because it's gonna get hot.
Strap on your big boy gooch. It's beautiful. Poetry.
Stanza. Rhyming a couplet.
Yes. Iambic.
Pentameter.
Pentameters. Strap on your big boy pentameters.
And saddle up your iambics because...
See, this is why we've got to work together. We have such amazing bands. My God. We just talk in nonsense to each other.
In the corner like naughty boys.
Yeah. As I said, we could reboot the Boys in Blue. We could be the new Cannonball.
Yes. Dan Lars, yes, there is a new Jeepers Creepers. In fact, my friend Darren, I believe unrelated to... Although Darren knows... So Darren was in My Feral Heart, which was produced by James Rumsey, who's a great friend of Brad's and mine as well. James is a lovely, lovely dude. And do you know James? You met James?
I've met him. I met him. Guess
was it
where?
at the BFI?
Briefly.
Oh, there you go.
It was.
As he sort of staggered out of a hole in the wall covered in newspaper and fecal matter, wondering what day it was.
We've all been there.
Cocooned by Mark Price.
Yes.
So Darren, my friend Darren, is, I believe, in the new Jeepers Creepers, although in what capacity I don't know. But that's it's awesome. There's lots of connections to that because I think Brad. I don't know if I'm allowed to say Brad to whatever, but it's a private chat, so that's fine. Brad had some involvement, shall we say, and an element, a dash of Brad went into that.
A dash of Brad is always a good thing to have anywhere, frankly.
It's like MSG. It just makes everything taste better.
It is. I mean, sometimes I'm in the mood for a big dollop of Brad. And that's great too.
Yes, on a Friday evening after several pints of lager.
Just dollop that Brad on everywhere.
Slather the Brad.
Slap Brad. Isn't that a city in Norway?
It is. Welcome to Slav Brad. We have
Slav Brad. Would you like some bratwurst?
Bread and butter.
I don't know why I'm doing it in a stupid accent like that, but I don't know.
We would hope that one day our favourite, our national hero, Brad Watson, will visit our town.
Brad
There's
Watson.
a cat
Yes.
in the washing machine. That's what my friend used to do. He goes, he lived with a Norwegian for ages for some reason. He used to say, "There's a cat in the washing machine." Anyway, watch Fortitude, and you'll pick all that.
Oh,
I
like Fortitude a lot.
I forgot I was in it. We were watching it. Yeah.
You were in Fortitude. Sorry, I'll say that in a lower voice. You were in Fortitude.
Hang on. That's, can I go for another one, please? You were in Fortitude.
Yeah, go for it. I'm going to get closer to the mic now. You were in Fortitude.
Yeah, I was in just a scene as a doctor where Bob the cat came in. What's his name? The guy.
One of the treadwells.
And was flailing about because we were operating on his missus because she was blind. And
so that was in the first season, wasn't it? Oh, that was in the second season, wasn't it? It's a funny one that because it was first, second season were great, and the third season, I just wait. What?
Yeah, the first one was kind
of
of quite an interesting whodunit with a smattering of sort of supernatural, perhaps. But it seemed to be saying we're winking at the supernatural, but it's all got a scientific explanation.
Yeah.
And Stanley Tucci was wonderful, as always.
Oh. God,
and then the second one just went full tilt batshit, and then the third one was only, I think, a few. It really
shat itself,
it
didn't it? Really,
it's very weird.
Yeah, it's such a shame when things like that start strong, and I don't know if they run out of ideas or it just. I don't know what happens to things like that. I'm not sure with production when. It always seems to be like producers go, that first season was great. Let's do a second one, but with less money.
I mean, I think it's an element of difficult second album syndrome. So I think these things often start off as spec scripts that go around studios and then possibly get bought and shelved, and then one day someone comes out of the woodwork and goes, "Shit, we need let's do that thing." And sometimes I think they are film scripts that kind of get dragged out because they always seem to be building to a crescendo that never seems to come. And then, or they do, like that first season of Fortitude has a really great beginning, middle, and end. And then it's like, oh shit, we got okay. And then the second one just smacks of quick, spin a yarn, anything, whatever, and it just gets ridiculous.
You castrate yourself
now.
Okay.
I was like, what? Why is this happening? Why am I watching a man cut off his own junk? Because he was a shaman or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, in shaman school, once I read that bit, I go, actually, do you know what?
I think I'm gonna.
I think I'm. Yeah. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do social studies,
mate. I think this is a bit much for me. Wing Kong Exchange says, "Did he get a split diopter?" Yes, he did. That was the thing that what were we watching? I can't remember what we were watching, but like those shots where you would get. They used to do a lot in the 70s where you'd have foreground in focus and background, but you'd get that blur down the centre of the screen. And Richard said, "Oh, that's a split diopter." That sounds like something the Dutch would say. Really, it sounds like some sort of Dutch sex movie.
I've got split my diopter.
And one day, if we can go for a split diopter. You have to say it.
You dirty birdie.
I'm going to my porn search is split diopter.
Split diopter.
It does sound like a sex
thing. It does sound like a sex thing. Or an injury. Indeed. Either one. I'll take either of those.
It's exciting at the moment because things do seem to be ramping up, both in terms of our world, but also in terms of just things in general. Obviously, films are coming out now apace, which is good to see. But yeah, have you? So we've got this really exciting thing to go work on with Mark, which Brad, by the way, says big dollop coming your way, Geary.
I'm looking forward to it.
All over our face, neck, and chest. No doubt. And
sometimes in the eye.
Only amateurs give it in the eye. That's what your beard's for, surely.
Yes, it's called the Flavor Saver.
Excellent.
You're welcome.
So we've got that. I mean, I was trying to count the number of things that I'm going to work on now, which is it sounds like hugely, braggadocio things. But I've got 5 things I've got to work on between now and the spring, which is cool.
That's great.
Possibly a 6th, but I'm waiting to hear on that. That's been kind of, I think that's, we'll see. Which is fantastic. So I'm kind of, and possibly some producing as well. So I'm loaded up, which is really great.
Nice.
And things keep coming in the door as well.
Nice.
That's what I mean. Like this thing that I'm doing this weekend that just landed in my lap last night / this morning.
Wow, that's great, man.
Yeah. I think it's because I think it's because I've got mates who are sort of like have had projects in the wings and now they're suddenly jumping into them. In fact, this one is through my friend who I did the ADR thing for. He was coming off one project, I guess, onto another. He just works and works and works. He's a very he's a producer and he's a very good one, and so he's in high demand. And I've worked with him a bunch because we kind of met when we were both starting out, and that's so relationships. That's what it's all about, really.
Relationships. It's all about.
It's all about.
It's lovely.
You got to
build them
relationships.
You have to scratch their backs,
shave their backs sometimes,
their fronts, shave their backs, tickle their belly,
their gooch. Give them a lovely split diopter. It's all.
Oh, I love a split diopter. A little bit of pepper, a little bit of chili. Oh, mwah. Little dollop of Brad. Just throw a little spurt of Brad across the top there. Oh.
It's the spice.
That's it, right.
Sorry, I'm getting tinged. Go away.
It's all your bloody jobs coming in. You've just got another one.
Well, it's my aunt, I think. But yes, I don't know if she's got a job for me. She might do. Yeah. Any questions? Have we got any questions? You and I sort of just singing our own praises.
I know. I'm great. Are you great?
I'm great.
You are
Acting.
Great. Rada.
Yes. Any questions? Do sing. But Rob Myers is in the chat. Rob is diligently and very kindly working on our stuff for Type 2D Bleed. In fact, Richard sent me. Did he send it to you as well? That the 3D rendering of Gary Jr.
Yeah. Yes, and it looks great.
Yeah.
Really great.
So I'm super excited. Apparently, that's going to happen to me as well, which is really weird. Which is awesome.
Fantastic.
So, yes, very excited about that. That's nearly there. I think we're very nearly there with that. So, and Richard, actually, who was it? Someone asked, forgive me, I'm going to find out. Was it Sean? Someone asked, anyway, who's been editing the trailers. And it's Richard. It's all Richard. It's all Mr. Jackson. He is diligent, and he's put a lot into this film. I mean, he wrote it, he shot it, he directed. He's director of photography. I mean, we were looking at the poster recently that Dan again made that was fantastic.
Oh, amazing!
Yeah,
it looks amazing.
Absolutely incredible job on that, mate. And we were looking at that, and it just says like Richard Jackson at the bottom. But it's all his thing, and so kudos.
A Jacksonscope production.
Yes. So no, it's very cool, and I hope it's going to be. What I'm now going to have to step up to the plate on is getting this out to festivals, because Liz and I need to work on that and get it as far.
What are your festivals of your dream list of festivals? The Oscars. That's a festival, isn't it? It's quite a popular festival.
Navel gazing, backslapping, and grandstanding. Yes.
Split diopters.
No, it's I mean, I think we looked at Fright Fest. I think the thing with Fright Fest is, whilst I do think we can go for it, it would have to be next year now anyway. But it's not the be all and end all. We've had someone very kindly write to us and ask us about being in their festival, and I have said, we'll obviously submit it, but the film's not ready yet. So as and when that happens, which is really kind. So we've been offered already, or we've had interest, and it's not even done.
That's
really great. But yeah, I'd love to get it into just as many. I mean, I really think start at the top and work our way down. I don't think there's anything too big or small for it. I do think it'll be of the caliber to sort of aim at the bigger festivals. I mean, I don't know about you, but
I think so. I definitely, and because it's fun. It's what is it?
something like that.
21
I think that's what
minutes. Or no, as Richard's re-edited it, it's 180 minutes.
the director's cut.
Yeah, he's got a huge rant in the middle. He's basically laying out his political manifesto for an hour and 60 minutes. An hour and 60 minutes is 2 hours.
Oh, no, an hour and 20
minutes. 2
hours.
Yeah. Oh yeah, an hour. What's happening? An hour and 20 minutes is not 2 hours. That's 120 minutes.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, you
An
know
hour
what I mean.
We shouldn't be talking this kind of. We don't talk technical.
Oh, not yes.
We should
art,
talk art.
Yes.
Art.
Yes.
Brad, help us out.
Rob.
What's 2 hours?
Rob says, Duncan, in fact, I may need a quick favour from you for your digi double. Okay. Yeah. Whatever you need, man. Just let me know. Richard Jackson's type, did you bleed? Yes. Richard is like John Carpenter, said Omar. Yeah. Well, except for all the weed smoking and Call of Duty, I think. Although I could be wrong. But fair play. Yes, I think Mr. Watson is something of a John Carpenter as well.
He has the auteur spirit. And he's no stranger to a lovely electronica sound in his great soundtracks.
That's true. Yes,
really
that's
great.
something that Brad doesn't really get enough credit for. But Brad does a lot of scoring. In fact, he scored Fistful of Lead, which is just fantastic.
Did great.
So he's a keen musician. Lest it must be said that.
I always love it. We've all been to Brad's house. He's shown us his guano nest. Sounds like something else now. and I always love it when he gets on the piano because it's great. It's always a treat.
Yeah, you mean because he plays like scores from films and stuff. It's absolutely
it's a treat. Going to it's one of my favourite things to do, and hopefully at some point soon, Brad, if you're out there listening, let's try and get it done.
I didn't have time to reply to it, Brad, but I will get back to you as soon as I get off the stream. But yes, he asked us if we would be up for trying to get a night out before it all kind of kicks off. So I'd be definitely up for that. I'd love that.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that after we finish shooting, there's a little window around the Halloween mark, which could be fun.
Yes.
My
thing is I have to plan
times.
things well in advance because obviously I am with child and nursery and all that is just like the biggest headache.
Sure.
I'm finding, like this job that's just come in, mercifully the days have now worked out. Well, they're night shoots, but they've worked out. Good. But it was going to look like I was going to have to extend a day of nursery, and it's like, and this is the trouble when you start having to deal with people who don't have a clue about the film industry. And you ring them up and go, if I needed to, could I extend that to a full day of nursery? And they go, yeah, no problem. When are you going to let us know by? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe tomorrow morning. And they're like, okay. And then you start getting calls from them in the morning going, when are you going to let us know? And I'm like, I don't know. Because I don't know if I'm doing it yet. And I don't know if it's that day or this day. And it's like, to everyone else, it's a complete anathema that things can be that vague. And a lot of people also go like, well, why didn't you ask them? Tell them to tell you. And it's like, it doesn't work like that. Yeah.
Listen, you Philistine, I'm an artist in pursuit of the truth.
Exactly.
I have no time for your banal questions.
That's what
you should do.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank
My
you.
advice
I should
to you.
play that back.
I went to the Lambda.
Did you really? Did you go to the Lambda?
That's what they teach you at the Lambda. Yes. I was one of the ones that got through the net.
Yes.
I sort of turned up like halfway through the first term. What the fuck are you doing here?
I don't know. Toilets are clean, aren't they?
Walls. I made a nest.
I learned to make a nest out of my own spitum.
Spitum. Of wood shavings and my beard hair.
Yeah. It's just, it smells alright once the air gets to it.
It's fine. I'm used to the smell of my own sebum.
Ah, delightful. It is.
Great word, that. Love sebum.
The lesser known human secretion.
Oh, it's a great thing, is sebum. Oh, love a bit of sebum.
Fashion a small facsimile of my left testy from sebum.
Lovely. What a load of nonsense. People, your poor patrons.
I didn't ask that question.
Yeah. I don't want to know about your fluids. Stop talking about your fluids.
Question, so we don't have to talk about our bodily fluids and secretions. I'm trying to think. What can we answer? What can we talk about? Let's talk about 007 sebum. Says over. Let's talk about what's. I don't know. What can we answer? You know, you got two actors to talk to.
Two actors.
Yeah. So you know, if there's anyone who asks, I'm normally the one sort of banging on about that kind of thing. But if there's anyone who's got any questions around that, or anyone would like to ask Mike something about his prolific, salubrious career.
I'm not showing anything on the camera. I don't bend over or reach above my head. Those are my ground.
Yes,
that's in every contract.
Every rider, every contract. Yes.
Every rider.
Yes.
I also always have to stand in a hole. That's the other thing I ask. I'm actually 6'5", but I want to look like I'm under 5 feet tall.
We had to dig a significant portion of the Computing History Museum out.
Well, they call it the Geary Trench.
Yes, we had to make several yards of Geary Trench.
I can put some pictures of the Geary Trench up for your Patreon viewers if you like.
Well, Sean Northridge asked an indelicate question, but he says, Mike, you've such a dwarf look off the back of the Geary Trench. Did you audition for The Hobbit, Deathly Curious? I don't know if he's being mean or if he's I don't know. I apologise.
No, I do get a lot of people saying, like on this last upcoming television project, one of the sort of the main people like, oh, you look like Gimli. I was like, yeah, great. Didn't get it, did
Thanks for that. Yeah.
What do they do? Oh, when they cast the dwarves in The Hobbit, they just cast loads of guys at 6 feet tall, and they just digitally, they don't care. But yes, I have a strong, short Nordic look, and I'm very proud of it too.
Do you know what? I think when you embrace it, this is I feel like I'm a look hobo in some ways, but I think when you, my friend Darren, both have very different but very fascinating looks that like you, but the camera loves you, and that's what I think. It's fantastic. I think that's what and that's what people are drawn to, and that's what I think means you get lots of work.
Well, that's very nice of you to say. I think your look is very strong too, because you have annoyingly symmetrical features. You handsome devil. Oh shucks.
Well,
I've looked up at that face quite a lot, and I had a good time doing it.
You can.
But I do get the funny enough the looping today I was doing the editor was like, you look like.
Don't.
And I was going to say, I know what they're going to say.
Oh, yeah.
Robin Williams. But Robin Williams in either Jumanji or The Fisher King. So basically, you look like homeless Robin Williams.
Robin Williams, who's been trekking through the jungle for the last 10 years or whatever, or a mad hobo.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I actually had. I think I've told you this before, so forgive me if I repeat myself. But I was once doing a show in Stoke on Trent, and I was just at an ATM getting some money out, and this guy came up behind me and went, "Oh, Jumanji! You're Jumanji!" Like, I don't know what that means. I'm Jumanji.
I look like a board game, do I?
Oh, I turned around and he was about like that, so I went, that's me.
Bye.
Jumanji.
Come on now. The you're Mike. The Wingkong Exchange says, Mike, what's the worst thing about working with Duncan? The worst thing.
Oh God! I mean, there's the constant flatulence. It doesn't stop.
I think I
It's
was
an
in good
extraordinary
company
thing.
on that.
I mean, they they should rename your bum Old Faithful.
Smoky Joe.
Smoky Joe. Don't worry, Smoky Joe's been dormant for a very
Dante's
long
Peak.
time.
It's
Dante's
fictional and highly
peeking.
volatile.
Dante's Dante's peeking over the top of your
Yeah.
waistband. No, there was no constant flatulence. That's not right.
Oh, for God's
Worst thing we were working with Duncan was while we were having too much fun. Literally,
Yeah.
that's it. It was too much fun, and I love that. It's great to be able to, um, and Richard was brilliantly
Yes.
patient with us. But it was great. So, but that was the worst thing. But it was a
Yeah, I would
brilliant
agree.
thing.
I think that's one of those. I mean, fortunately, it was a project where I think we were in the kind of the flow of it with those characters, so it wasn't too bad to like be laughing our tits off 1 minute and then having to jump into a scene the next. The hardest scene, there was a scene where I had to say something highly innocuous and then stare at Mike like eye to eye whilst eating, and because that was the gag, was that just went on for far too long, and that my character was completely oblivious to the fact that he just said something really stupid, and that was I don't know how many takes of that we did, but it was just fucking impossible, but it was.
What I was just jealous because I didn't get any hangover.
I found myself. Do you know what I did? I found myself because obviously I had to eat it a lot when I was working, and then like in between takes, I was just sort of munching on it. I was like, "What am I doing? Why am I eating this?" And then I often decry energy drinks, but I had to drink. Like the point was to get this horrible can of Monster or whatever. That was the gag, that he's drinking this nasty stuff, and it was mango flavored or something like that. And I was like, right, I'm only doing this once, because we only had. I think we only had 1 or 2 cans anyway. So I like opened it up. And I like it because I've seen that scene now, and it's quite funny because it's all sort of slebby and it was actually quite nice. And again, when we cut, I was like, I was drinking it because it was great, but it is just laden with sugar and whatever the.
That's what started him on the slippery slope to addiction.
And then I ended up like, what is it? The Simpsons with King Griffey? No, who's the one who's addicted to tonic or whatever and ends up with a big swollen head?
Yeah. I can't remember that. What is that? The baseball one?
Mr. Burns' baseball team. I love that one so much. It's so good.
Yeah.
Because Rich and I are always referencing that. Because when there's people who don't get it, like our shorthand for someone who's like keeps complaining about the same thing you've fixed 1,000 times is to go like, "I told you to shave those sideburns," and it's just like, what don't you? I don't think you know what those are. Like, what's going on? Yeah.
Brilliant.
What else? Anyone? Any questions? Come on, you guys must have questions. You must have the questions. Ask the questions. Where is the fate?
I was speaking to somebody yesterday. I was working on a show until quite recently, and there were young people on it, and talking to some of the young people, and there are many of them who haven't seen any John Carpenter movies. They hadn't seen The Thing. They hadn't seen Halloween, and you're like, come on, guys, catch up. If even if you don't like that genre, just on a filmmaking angle, you've got to, because it's part of your history.
Yeah. What were they? Were they aspiring, or were they film actors, or were they stage?
They are. Well, it's interesting because a lot of people that they want to get into it. I don't know who doesn't. It's great. It's great fun to do. I mean, I spent 20 odd years on stage, and then happened to luckily stumble into doing stuff in front of camera, and I'm still learning and developing, and hopefully one day I'll know what I'm doing. Let me let you
no one knows what they're doing. At least I hope not. Because
no, thank God.
That's my excuse.
Because they haven't told.
Yeah.
But the one thing I don't know whether you agree, or indeed your viewers agree with it, is that there are some companies who will film scenes for you to put on your show reel, and you've got to be very careful with them, I think, because some of them are brilliant, but some of them really aren't, and they're charging you a lot of money for a very poor product.
Yeah, I think I mean I remember I went into this with a fairly healthy dose of cynicism. I think I didn't do drama school because I think I think I've said this on Q&As and stuff before, but I kind of instinctively knew what I needed, and I think that's really important. Although I couldn't have articulated it at the time, I think what's really important with people who go into any creative industry is to sort of be very self-aware before you do. I think an awful lot of people, I'm not by no means tarring you with this brush, but I think an awful lot of people go to the radar because they just see it as a way of opening doors, and they don't see it as having anything to do with the craft, or or they're not necessarily, they don't necessarily want to go into the Royal Shakespeare Company, but they just see it as a box to tick, and I find that sort of thing quite cynical. And I remember starting out going, I just want to get better at screen acting. That's where I want to be. I want to work on screen. I don't, I love theatre. Don't get me wrong, but as far as my career is concerned, I want to be on camera most of the time. And so I just sought out ways to plug those gaps in my skill set, and then kind of just figured out the rest as I went. And I don't know whether or not that was a good idea. I guess time will tell. But
Well, I think the proof is in the pudding. You're fruity pudding, aren't you?
Figgy
fruity pudding. Look at. Oh, such a figgy pudding. Look at you. Oh, a little dollop of Brad here and there. Lovely.
Of Brad
Yum yum.
Around my...
Oh, just a little Brad. Brad
on the
butter.
horizon of my figgy pudding.
Just around the edges. But you're working, and that's the point. I mean, I think I went to drama school simply because I was 18 and I didn't want to go to university. I wanted to be an actor, and I wanted to train. That was literally it. And I just went 18 years old straight in. I should have waited and got a bit of life experience first, I think. But that's why I did it. And what was great for me was just meeting people and talking to them, because I grew up in Cardiff, and breaking into anything to do with film or television there was hard. A bit easier now, but much harder then. And again, I just wanted to do stuff on stage, and that's what I did for a long time. But as things progressed, watching people work on screen and then having some experience with certain things, watching crews, how they are with each other, watching how to behave or not behave in and around a camera, fascinated me, because there's so much scope for play. And also you get to craft things with theatre. You rehearse, but then it's in the moment, and you get one shot every night. Whereas with film, you can try things out and use them all or none of them, and it's great. I think it's lovely. It's still high pressure, obviously, because there's that moment where if you're on a big shoot or something and you look around and there's like all these crew, all this set, all these people there, and you think, why? Oh shit, they're here because they're pointing that at this. That's worrying.
I've said this before, but it's usually around the 50% mark, or the middle ground. Whenever I'm doing a shoot, whether it's a day or months, it's usually right around the middle where I get a sudden hit of imposter syndrome. I'll be in a room with some incredible actors and lots of, all the equipment, like you say, and all the people and all the crew and all this money that's been poured into this thing, and they're going to look at me, and I've got to do it. And it's like, I did that on Erica. I remember being in the room with Terence Maynard and Ian Peary and Holly Earl and me, and I was like, this is I love this, because I was like, I'm on a proper film set with proper film crew with amazing actors, and I was like, this is what it's all about. This is what I love this, and I was so happy. And then I went, what am I doing here? I was like, and then I suddenly had this moment of, it's.
But that's why I always love working with friends, because that pressure it's still there, but it's
Mm.
less. You know what I mean? Because you're already relaxed.
Those
in
guys
front
as well,
of
though. I mean,
people.
like Ian is a good friend of mine. I've worked with him a bunch of times, and he's Ian loves a good icebreaker. So I remember one of those, we were doing a night shoot, and I was leant up against the car outside, and he just came and parked himself next to me, leant up against the car, and just farted. The loudest fart I've
Nice.
ever, and it was an old Jaguar, and I felt the ripples through the exquisite bodywork. And
Lot of reverb in a
yes,
Jag.
there has to be, but
If it was a Volvo estate, we'd
yes,
still be hearing
indeed.
it.
Ringing the dinner bell, I call it. Yes, but no, Ian is fantastic, and Ian was in the Chernobyl series, which was amazing, and he was in Die
Yes,
Another
it was.
Day. He got punched in the face by Pierce, so that's very cool.
I mean, who
He
doesn't
doesn't
want
want to
to?
get
Who
punched
doesn't
by
want
Pierce.
that?
I mean, hey,
Who wants to be?
Who doesn't?
Everyone does. The Chernobyl was still one of my favorite things on television I've ever seen, because it's a 5-hour movie, which is lovely. And weirdly, for the past 2 years, my wife and I watch it on New Year's Day. It's like Happy New
Let's
Year.
watch the worst nuclear disaster in history. I can't get I struggle to get my wife to rewatch anything, which is a shame. But I would love to rewatch that, because I remember just whipping through it and being like, ugh. It was one of those just you wanted to hoover it up, because it was just amazing, sort of just goblets of beautiful television that you wanted to eat with a dollop of Brad, and
I mean, all the Brad all over.
Generous with the Brad.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, I'll have Brad on anything.
Yeah, he's very much the tomato ketchup of
He really is.
humans.
I'll just if I've got a crust, I'll just dip it in my little bit of Brad on the side.
Sorry, have you got any Brad?
Sorry, yeah, Domino's. Look, your garlic and herb, great, but barbecue's good. Do you have any Brad?
Mark.
Brad bread.
Brad, have you got
Brad
any
bread?
Brad? I don't know. Scouse seem to fit. Mark of Nowhere Fast Productions asks. He says, I was watching an early cut of the film with Rich, and he was very specific about the thing with the key rings that are visible with each of you hand over a set of keys to each other. Can you talk about that? Yeah, we each had. So this is Richard's fastidiousness. He went and got us key rings that said something about our character. And I don't know. I can't really spoil it. What was your one? Do you remember what your one was?
Oh God, was it a character? Or was I can't remember.
Wasn't it something from Half-Life? Was it something like that?
Yes, that's right. It's like a little symbol. I'll be honest. We were all strung out on all the drugs
We were huffing a
for
lot
that entire
of
shoot, because it was quite
flatulence.
each other's farts.
We were on a methane high, but yes, no, I think it was a duplicitous character anyway, and mine was RoboCop. So
That's right.
They did.
That's right. And there's a portrait I carry at some point as well, which is an interesting character. I think.
So there's a lot of.
Yeah.
Richard was very clever with how he sprinkled those things throughout the film. So there's a lot of nods. So that if you go back and rewatch it, you'll see, things that denote where we'll end up, or which one of us is, who's what and what's when.
Has Mark at Nowhere Fast Productions, does he know that we've been talking about the nest that he built in the walls of the BFI?
I don't know.
Made out of chewed up newspaper and his own guano.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. At the very least, there are some people in the room who will study those key rings when we watch it. Wink. Yes, very good point. Yes, hopefully you will, when you see it, pay attention to the key rings and what those things mean. I mean, the thing is with them is they probably mean more on a second viewing, because I think they won't necessarily mean anything to you on a first viewing, but the point is when you go back and watch it, you can go, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. Dan Lyles says, Mike, what is the biggest audience you have performed to on stage, and do you still get nervous?
One of the biggest audiences I've ever performed to was 2,000 people.
Wow.
I was doing a show, and we were on tour. I think we might have been in Edinburgh at the Playhouse, which is actually like a 3,000 seater. So the biggest was 2,500. And there was a moment in that particular production where I came this close to shitting myself on stage.
Wow.
Properly. And not just like a little nugget. I mean like an explosive horror.
Did you eat the haggis? Is that what it was?
Yeah. I don't know. Well, it was something like that. All I remember was in the first act it was fine. It's like an hour. And then at the top of the second act, which was like an hour and 5 minutes, I just went, okay, let's go. We walked on. And as soon as I walked on stage and hit the lights, my tummy went, and I went, oh God. And I was on stage for 45 minutes. So it's literally holding it in. And there was a point where the character I was playing had to do a lot of jumping about. And at that stage, that character didn't do any jumping about. He just knelt in the middle of the stage and delivered his lines. And then as soon as the lights went down, ran off into the wings. And I knew I had 10 minutes. And I just ran off into the wings, saying, wait, get out the way! Tearing off my clothes. Because I knew that, if there was a gauge from green to brown, the needle was like, and the glass was cracking.
Pressure gauge.
I found the first dressing room I could find, which I think was the company manager, because the company manager always gets the nicest dressing room now for some reason. And that's the one with the toilet. And I went in there and fucking destroyed that toilet. That was the worst. And I came back on with all my costume half on, and it's like a really sad ending. And it's like, oh, they're dead. And I'm like, okay.
So you had poophoria.
I had poophoria, and may I say, a lot of sebum covering my brow.
Your brow?
My brow was covered in sebum.
Oh dear.
And it was rank. It was just the worst thing I've ever seen, and smelt and did. And I really hooked my microphone up when I was in there.
Oh, that's amazing. Was a book.
So there you go.
The reviews. Michael Geary gives a very clenched performance as
clenched, explosive. Yes, that's right. The moment where he simulated a fire extinguisher being set off, spinning around, projecting his. Honestly, there was a point in that, I came that close to just saying to the audience, ladies and gentlemen, I just need 10 minutes to leave the stage and come back. Or I'm going to shit on the first 3 rows.
Gosh, I remember going and seeing a production of, what was it, 12th Night? Or something with my friend Craig was in. What was my friend? No, that's wrong. My friend Craig, who is a radar trained actor, and has been he's since moved to America actually, but he was in the original cast for Les Mis and Mamma Mia and all those things, and he's old contact from the Bahamas actually. My grandfather designed his dad's house, and anyway, which is kind of cool. We went and saw. I think it was his friend was in a production in Cambridge, so we went and saw that. We had dinner, and I just started dating my now wife, so I brought her with us. Anyway, one of the actors, I forget who he was playing now, which is annoying. But he bent over. He had a candle or something he was waving around, and he bent over and set his fucking hair on fire. And the audience were like, whoa! And I think he thought it was all just, but everyone, he was like, what? And then he smelt it and went, but he did the best recovery I've ever. I mean, he played it absolutely like he didn't break his stride at all. He just, he nailed it. And he stayed in character and absolutely. So I was like, that is dedication. That's amazing. Yeah, I don't think I have never played to that many people. I've played music. When I played in a band. The biggest crowd I think we had was 3,500, but not acted in front of that many people.
I think the funny thing is when you're doing film or television, and if you start thinking about the number of people who might watch, you can't do that. I
got given the number of, and this is months ago now. I got given the number of downloads for Erica by one of the the company directors, and it was like, whoa. It was funny because you know what, you don't get any indication of stuff like that. It's not even like you see box office. No one reports on how many people downloaded the computer game, really. And it's nuts. But I was out with my brother-in-laws who were over from the States the other night, just in our local pub, and we went out for a Ruby, and we came back, and we had a last one in the pub, and one of my brother-in-laws was going, he was sort of egging me on. He was going, you're famous. I was like, no, I'm not. Shut up. And he was going, no, come on. And he said to the bar, there were two young people working behind the bar, and he went to one of them. And he goes, "Have you seen Erica?" And he went, "What, a video game?" And I was like, "Oh no." And he went, yeah, you know it, the video, he goes, "Yeah, of course I know that." And he went, and he pointed at me, and he went, like this, and I went, "Oh no!" I was like, "Stop it! Like, that's weird. I don't, you know what I mean?" And it was a very odd sort of. Like I'm thinking awareness, because I think it's well. Don't forget, like, no matter how widespread, even if lots of people have played it, they're not necessarily going about their daily life. They wouldn't, unless you are mega A-list celebrity and you walk in the thing. They're not. They don't. And also, no one cares. I mean, let's be honest. Let's not get up our own fundamentals. No one really.
I mean, maybe they do, but I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, there's like, it's really interesting. You watch. There's, for example, long running series like Game of Thrones. There are people who've appeared maybe in one episode of that, and they get invited to Comic-Con. Yeah. And that's really interesting. And that's probably because people, when you get into genres like that, the fan base are meticulous, and they want to meet everyone, because they just want to feel fully immersed in that world. So if you're like some dude holding a shield over there, they're still quite excited about meeting you. And I think that's really, lovely.
It is, and
and it's how you react to that, I guess, is the thing, isn't it? And some people are very shy and they don't want to speak, and that's fine. But but if you get recognised, enjoy it, love. Enjoy it.
No, I did. I suppose it's one of those you go out for a beer with your brothers and your brother-in-laws, and you sort of like, I'm not really okay. Don't try and draw attention. But no, it is lovely, and I have people write to me. I still get people writing to me, like, through my agent and stuff, asking for autographs, and
I will stop. I promise. But
Dyke Mariri, really,
send me the
autograph. You need to try hard.
Just send me a signed photo of your gooch, and I will stop.
I'll send you a signed photo of someone else's gooch. How about?
Oh no, that's not the point. I've got so many of Richard Jackson's, I don't need any more. I papered my entire living room with those.
It's made a mural.
Looks like a topographical map of Britain.
Yes. Okay. Well, yeah. No, I do, because it's usually people who, like, Emmerdale fans or EastEnders fans or Bond fans even. I still get those. So completists, I think they are. Because I don't really have hard copies of my headshot anymore. Like, that's just not a thing, and people ask for signed copies of that, and I'm like, I don't. I mean, I could order some, I suppose, but I did. One guy asked. He wrote to me because he was a fan of Emmerdale. I think it was Emmerdale, and I still had my scripts. I'd kept a couple of the scripts, so I tore him off the front page and signed that. And I said, "Look, here you go.
Oh.
That's a real bona fide script from Emmerdale." So I hope so.
I bet he loved that.
I've never heard back from him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did get a box of torn up roses. Completely unrelated, I'm sure.
Oh, that's weird. Was it? No, it wasn't chewed up newspaper and guano.
No, that I know who that was from.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's Sebum. Yeah.
Who's Wing Kong Exchange downloaded Erica. Thank you very much. Sam asks, have you played it yet? Oh, sorry, I'm just reading through. Yeah, Sam, I did, thinking I would save our Duncan. Ah, yes, though alas, I don't think that's possible. Yes. But there you are. But thanks for trying. Yeah, no, I mean, again, Rich and I need to. We're going to do a let's play of that at some point. It's just getting in the same room and being able to have hours to do it, and probably in an evening, which is really difficult. Sorry. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, Sam says him and his dad did a second playthrough in one sitting. Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
I think.
It's a lot of Duncan time.
Too much Duncan time, I think. Duncan, my fam found your interview with me and my family started posting it all over. Oh, yeah, Rob, because Rob did a really great interview with us on the channel, which I encourage anyone who hasn't seen it yet to go check it out. But Rob is fascinating, and if you want real Hollywood insider stuff about special effects work, he's your man. And Rob's done the biggest stuff, and done it amazingly well. So we're hugely grateful.
And he's involved in
yeah.
It's so great.
No, it's
so great.
It's amazing.
And I've seen some of his work.
Oh god, yeah.
It looks amazing.
Like I've said to people before, I've always said that you're more resourced than you think you are. I think when we started this out, and I remember Rich was sending me the first sort of treatments and stuff, and I was like, I don't know how we're going to do that. I don't know how we're going to do that. I don't know how we're going to do that. And it just like, do you know what? We put it out there, and people came in, and people went, yeah, we can do that. We can help you with that. We can blah, blah, blah. And it was just like, that's amazing. We're so
lovely.
fortunate. Of course, we had Bill came in and helped us out with funding and stuff, and it was just like, look how supported we are in bringing this together. So it's lovely.
There's a lot of love behind this little film. Yeah. I really like that. I really love that.
Yeah, and do you know what as well? Like, it felt there was a certain degree of serendipity, because I know he was like, originally Richard was going to play your character, and I was like, I don't see it, but okay, but I get where he was coming from. But I was kind of like, okay, and I thought, you're going to have so much to do. I don't know if that's really going to work. And then I was like, come on. And then we got around to like, let's recast it. And he was going, but who could play it? Who could play it? Who could play it? And I just was like, I was just sat there. I was like, sat there for a while, and I went, Mike. What? Mike? And I was like, obviously Mike. Why haven't we said this? And I just went, here, Mike. And I sent him. I grabbed some pictures off Facebook and was like, Gary, you've met, and because I think he'd met you once, or something.
Yes, I think so. We've all maybe at the BFI.
In the bar behind the bar.
In the bar behind the bar. But yes, that little place. I always like. Every time I walk into that little bar behind the bar at the back, I kind of get Mos Eisley Cantina vibes.
Yeah. It is great though. I mean, I miss being there actually, because I think I'm forever. What frustrates me. I associate that place now with a great deal of stress, partly because I might be on the screen, but also because the last few times I was there, I was either stressed about getting the last train home, or I lost my car key. I remember losing my car key at I think it was the Night Shooters screening, and I was like, fuck, and I spent the whole thing like stressed out, running around the BFI, asking people to help me find it. I think I lost it on the train in the end, so I never got it back, and so so I had to get home, get a cab home, and then it was just generally quite stressful. But do you know what? I love it there.
That's awful.
I do love it there, and I love being there with you guys.
And me too. It's so much fun. That's where I met Mark and Brad for the first time. I met Mark there through mutual friends, Craig Russell, Steve Mayo, and we instantly hit it off, which is great. And we just talked about movies. And then when Mark was like, are you out? Because I meet my mate Brad. I was like, oh, great. And I just remember we just sat, drank, and shouted happily and enthusiastically about Star Wars for a very long time. Yeah. And it was great fun. And I was like, I found my tribe. That was the lovely thing. And I honestly still find that. And that's what's so nice, is that it continues to not to grow, but it just does get bigger. The network gets larger and larger, and more people make connections. That's the nicest way of doing it. organically rather than. I mean, there are lots of well organized networking events, which I can't do. I can't network with anybody because I don't have that facility. I just don't. I cannot do it. But just
because when you start out as an actor, people will say like, "Oh, networking. You've got to get good at networking, and you go, "Okay, but how the fuck do I?" All right, and then, well, you just have to be there. You have to be in the. It's like, well, what does that even mean? You know, it's like, what do actors hang out in this? And then why you don't want to network with actors? You want to network with directors and producers. Anyway, but that just sort of formed, much like a secreted nest in the.
But
Brad,
yes.
I met Mark there for the first time as well through a mutual friend, and then Brad, I met, bless him, because he used to watch us on Oliver's channel. Asked me to do or look at doing a role in Hallows Eve, and so I met him for the first time. I was doing Holby, I think, and I met him for the first time at we had a coffee over at Elstree, and just got to know each other there, and it was really great. And it was, bless him, it was the day after he'd had his dog put down, which was awful.
Oh yeah.
And so, but yeah, and yeah, like those guys, you're right. It is like a tribe. You can literally just put us in a room together. You know, and that's the nicest thing is when you know, and like you say, it grows and it's just beautiful and it's organic and it sounds very cliquey and it isn't. It's just when you meet people who it's not exclusive. You know, it's just you meet people who you have that bond with. Look, from an outsider's perspective, I guess people could consider it, or would think of it as being what's the word? Nepotistic, or you know, that sort of thing, because you know it's like fucking Johnny Depp's in the latest Tim Burton movie or whatever, you know, it's that, you know, people might think that, but it isn't like that, you know. These are relationships built up over time, doing good work, you know, and putting our all into something.
And creating trust, which is, I think, really important. And because, you know, one of the other things I've discovered about working on any set, whether it's film, television, or stage, and it's a lesson you learn very early on, is don't be an arsehole. That's really it. You know, be the nicest person on set, because people talk to each other. And it's also just a nice thing to be a good person anyway, obviously. But make an effort to make sure everyone's happy as well as you. And I think that's just the nicest way to work.
I believe so much in practicing gratitude, because it is a practice. And I think if you can remember, on the days when you're cold, like a fucking fistful of lead, when I was freezing my dick off in the snow and the horror and covered in blood, and I got all ill, and I was like on the ground, and there were times when I was like, oh, please don't call me down there again to that fucking mine. And then I was like, what are you doing? You love this. And I was like, no, but it's gonna look so good. I was like, and I'm excited, and I was excited, genuinely, you know.
And it did look good. It looked great, man. I had no idea how ill you were on that shoot. You were fantastic,
but
really brilliant. It was brilliant. And I think just very quickly to say, we've mentioned two other films that we should definitely get people to watch, which is Night Shooters and Hallows Eve.
Yes, absolutely.
Got to see those films. They're so good. They're so much fun as well. You know, I love those movies.
I remember coming out of that and saying to, because I'm not in it, you know, but I'd gone to the screening of it, and I came out of it and I was like, I forgot I was sat watching a mate's film. I was like, that was just fun. That was just so much fun. You know, and I said to Mark, I was like, this needs to go somewhere. And I you know, Mark's been on the channel and sort of spoken about it before, but you know, he sort of said it was a disaster from a kind of sales point of view and a distribution point of view, but and a marketing point of view. But it is just so fucking fun. And so I think if any of you are out there and you just want to, you know, if you're in the mind to it is an indie movie, definitely it's a low budget indie movie, but it doesn't look low budget. Yeah. That's one thing. And second of all, the performances in it are absolutely incredible and funny, and the action in it is phenomenal. Mark covers
great stuff.
Fight scenes incredibly well in that film. So
yeah,
go check it out. It definitely up there, definitely up there with like in terms of Mark's films. And then Hallows Eve, of course. I mean, I have to bang the drum for that, but that has a beautiful John Carpenter vibe. There's lots of John Carpenter Easter eggs in that.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
And the sort of underlying tension, the menace in it is really great. And I remember watching it. Do you know what? We may have met at the screening at the BFI. Actually,
oh yeah,
that's probably where we first met, you and I. Because I said to Mark, because I was like, it was great. And I was like,
it's great.
Who's the copper? It's brilliant. Who's that can play the copper? Oh, I can. Do you go to the RADA? No, I don't think they do. Fuck.
Yeah, sorry, I just derailed you.
Yeah, but look at all that sebum on his forehead. Where's that coming from, eh? Oh, that's not real. That's sprayed on. That's not real. You can tell real sebum. That's not real. But yeah, I loved that, man. It was great, really great. Yeah. Well, we're very lucky chaps to know those two, I guess.
Time will tell. But yeah. No, we are. And it's it's just been a beautiful little nuclei or nucleus around which to orbit.
Yeah.
I've said to Brad before, so I'm hugely grateful for those guys wanting to work with me and put us in things. And but at the same time, like I think I probably over egg it a bit with my contacts, because I tend to say, they'll say like, oh, working on this, but we'll try and get you in, but can't promise it. And I'm like, please don't feel pressure to put me in things. I just love hanging out with you, and I love working with you. But let's, and then I probably sound like I'm trying to say no to stuff, and I don't mean it that way. I mean, I love working with them when it is, and I part of me wants to say, please put me in the thing. I love being in the thing, but it's you don't want to come across as sort of grovelly or pressuring or in any way, because like I've.
Oh really? Oh shit! I'm doing it wrong.
Like, I don't want you to out of obligation put me in something I'm not right for. To fight for me to be in something that I'm not right for, even. Because I would hate for you to sort of strong-arm a producer into seeing me read for something that I'm clearly not right for, and then he can turn around and go, "That's not right," and then he's got all the pretext to say, "Don't use that guy." So I'd much rather wait till the time is right, strike when the iron's hot, other cliches, and that's
Tora.
Indeed. Richard has been chiming in the chat, by the way, just to let you know. He's commented
Richard
the
who?
Val Verde Broadcasting account. It says, "Hi Bellends," and then it says, "Oh wait, this is Richard, not Duncan. Just got back from work." Very good. Very good, Jeff Goldblum creeping out there a little bit. Type till you bleed fact. I did not in capitals, use a hot glue gun on Duncan's face. I merely used a lighter on a glue gun stick and melted it to his face. That's true. A true fact. A true fact. That was weird. That was one of those. He bought what the glue is, not Prozaid is the stuff you used to take off the glue, but whatever it is that you used to stick on people's face. And is it, or is Prozaid the glue? I get it confused.
Prozaid.
It does.
Sounds like something else to me.
Light, but it is a thing. But he bought some. It really didn't work because it doesn't. And so it's like obviously this contingency plan where he just whipped out a glue gun stick and a lighter and was like, or a candle. I was like, and he was like, it's right.
Where's
and
that
he was
going?
just sticking wires to my face with this gun. But it worked. It worked beautifully.
Do you remember the fire extinguisher?
I don't, but for health and safety
That was-
reasons. Oh, the fire extinguisher. Yes, sorry, I thought you meant as a joke.
That was terrifying.
Oh yeah, because it came with a cone that we didn't attach.
Yeah, we didn't put it on.
Yeah, that's right. We bought a fire extinguisher for Atmos.
Actually, and I genuinely just came again that close to shitting my pants when that thing went.
Yeah, he so bless him, Richard pulled the pin on this thing and was like, "How do we make this work?" And he was looking around it, and because we hadn't attached the cone, I don't know where the cone was, but we were like, I guess you point that at it, and I was like, I think that's the refilling valve. I think that is the bit. So it's a bit weird because it was like out the side, because the cone that comes with it screws in and then points forward, but the actual thing. So he went, so he's holding it sideways, pulls the trigger, and this thing goes, bah, bah. throws him back, blew off loads of like the paneling off the prop computer thing that we had there, like just destroyed the whole gag, and it was hilarious. Richard says, I was handed an unconed extinguisher.
An unconed extinguisher. You, sir, are an unconed extinguisher.
Mark says to Brad in the chat, he says, they know we're here, right? Do they say these awesome things when we aren't around? Yeah, no. Yeah, no, of course we do. Of course we do. We do.
No, we if we're face to face, we'll say what we really think about.
Gooch to gooch.
Gooch to gooch.
Lady in red.
Gooch to gooch, an actor's journey by Duncan Casey.
With me. Gooch to gooch.
Gooch to gooch.
Yes. Yes. Several people have tuned out. So we'll wrap it up, I guess, in the next 10 minutes or so. But I just thought let's throw it out there. If anyone has any more questions, please do ask them. This has been fun. I mean, I've had fun. I think we're sorry about the watch parties kind of trailing off at the moment, but we are just so up to our necks in baby stuff or work, and it just has. It's unfortunately kind of caused us to have to. But we wanted to do this for you guys and over on Patreon because we want to make sure you're well or you're looked after. So for the Wing Kong exchanges, don't forget to check your prosades, guys.
It's important.
Once you get over, what age is it? 50. Okay.
50. Well, I mean, I've been told I'm 48 and I should be having it done, but that's I don't know why. It's just this guy who lives outside
with one
offering and
slightly dishevelled glove.
It's a hook.
It's the Candyman. It's the Candyman.
Yeah,
there he is. Did you check your prostate this morning? He's played by Christopher Walken.
I would, if Christopher Walken, I would let him
be my
check.
Be my victim.
Wow.
Helen. What else does the cat?
Who would be the most disconcerting voice to appear behind you as you're getting that checked? Is it Walken? I'm not sure. Maybe
in your ass. That's where I keep mine. That's good. Good, moist, and dark, which is perfect. No, I don't know. I don't know. Well, probably. I think Alan Ford would be the most disconcerting voice to hear behind you during prostate exam. Yes, I don't know what he would say, but there you go. I found a lump. Do you know what biopsy means? Yeah. So any more? Sam Duxbury asks, have either of you seen any productions of The Play That Goes Wrong?
I haven't. I haven't been to see that show, and I know people who've been in it, and I hear it's amazing. I saw the Christmas one that was on TV. It was Peter Pan Goes Wrong, and that was a lot of fun. But I haven't actually been into town to see it, or into a theatre to see it, and I would like to because it describes a great deal of my career. And they should do the career that goes wrong.
Yeah,
that would be a good one.
It's otherwise known The Career. Yes, yeah.
The Career. Yeah.
No, I haven't either, and I'm not even really that aware of what it is. So I really ought to go and. I'm terrible with all that, though. I should see more theatre, but I don't. But I should. But
darling, the projection.
It will reverberate through your split diopter.
Oh. I can hit the back wall.
I split her diopter from the front row to the cheap seats, I tell you.
Did you ever see the time he shat himself on stage? Hit the back row. Now that's diaphragmatic support.
They heard him from Dundee to Dunkirk, I tell you.
from the stalls to the box to the cheap seats at the back. Covered
the
they were.
stalls to the stools. Yeah.
So
Covered they were in his diaphragmatic sebum.
yes.
Rob Meyer says, "Am I seriously the oldest one here?" I don't know, Rob. I don't know how old you are, but you don't look it. There you go.
There you go.
Anyone else? Anyone else for any more? So I had some headshots done. Actually, I can put you on the excellent photographer, Paul Nicholas Dyke. Excellent. If anyone needs headshots doing, I highly recommend him. He was brilliant. Loved working with him, and my agent's putting lots more people onto him, which is awesome. But yes, so I'm getting those back soon. My touch-ups. But what was I going to say? Yeah,
Did he do any boudoir shots?
Le boudoir. Well, I
just like a little bit of soft satin topless.
He does. Well, he does do all
looking
that
over your shoulder.
He does a lot of for me.
For you.
For the sort of, he does a lot of dancers and that kind of thing. He's kind of big into all that.
Well, maybe I might put the two together if I go and see him.
You should. I think. He's got an eye for it, and
Yeah. You will have. Not me.
What's the because you're gorgeous? That's playing in the background. Yeah. No, he was brilliant, and so
sounds great. I've seen a couple of the shots actually, haven't I? You put them up on your socials. They look great.
Socials, but I just sent them to you, I think, on WhatsApp tonight.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, yes, and they look great. We'll
see.
Really.
I mean, because do you know what? More and more nowadays, it is just all about your headshot, and I've even paid for some extra retouches as well because I wanted I've realised as well, my agent, God bless him, he's got to send me up. If depending on what you're put up for nowadays, you need to switch your headshot. Because I don't know if yours does this, but it's like on Spotlight. I think if you're being put up for a soap role, then you need a headshot that suggests that. If you're going to be put up for a film, you need a headshot that suggests that. If it's a cop role, etc., etc. So I really try to dig deep and get a bunch of stuff that's aimed at those different things, so that he has options. But yeah, it's a fine art getting headshots done.
It really is, and I've got to get some new ones done because mine are.
How often do you get them done? How often do you
the last time I had mine done was about 7 years ago, so they do need to get redone.
Yes.
Very, very old, but that's all right. Sort of wearing my 90s dungarees, clean shaven.
Right. Oh.
No, not really.
I'd love to see that.
Basically, I just send in a shot of Gwildor from Masters of the Universe, and they seem happy with that.
Yeah. Minecraft. Because I think the last ones I had done were in 2018. In fact, they were done on the very night I went to the Aquaman premiere with Brad. That was the last time I had.
Oh.
Done, yeah. God, that was ages ago. So yeah, and I sort of felt they needed updating, so I went and did this. Anyway, it's boring, but so I'm hoping the good thing about headshots is they're really a paid excuse to write to casting directors because they're you can kind of go, hey look, I did a new thing. But I'm hoping with that and all the kind of work that's been dropping in my lap, very amazingly, that I'll have lots to go into the next year with, as will you. That's really cool. I think we're going to be too.
I mean, that's the thing. It's something I've got to start thinking about in the new year. I'm aiming at new headshots in the new year, actually. I'm just going to give myself a little bit of time after we finish working on the things I'm working on to get myself into shape and get myself ready to go. But and the other lovely thing, of course, is, which is always lovely, is when you work on things like this, you always get to cut little new bits into your show reel, which is always fun. I love that.
It's tough. I mean, actually making a show reel stuff, because you've got to keep it a strict 2 minutes, and it's got to be their stuff. It's hard. Yeah.
You've got to be ruthless.
Yeah. But I always get conflicting information from casting directors, because sometimes they're like, do this, do that, take this out. I had one tell me once, just do shots of you, so get rid of all of the wide shots and everyone else's ones, and I'm like, yeah, but then none of it makes sense. I was like, the scene is just random.
No,
and
it's.
I sort of started it, and I sent like 20 seconds to my agent and went, "This is what she said to do," but I don't know. And he went, "That doesn't make any sense." He's like, "Don't do that."
Nah, again, like you said, no one knows what they're doing. Even casting directors
and agents, and you know, because and that's the thing. Very quickly, you know, like that's what I figured out early on in my cynical way. You know, I went to. Do you remember? I don't know if you ever went to but the Actors Expo or whatever that was in London. I mean, there was probably several of them, but there was one I went to, and there were people selling courses, and then one of them, like, they were always like, "Oh, come to our course. We get top casting directors coming along and sitting on the side and writing down your name or whatever." And I was like. This is one of them. I was like, who? And he went, "Oh, Roland thingy who does BBC casting director." And I went, "Oh yeah, I know him. I've auditioned for him actually already." And he was like, "Oh, okay." And then this person, and I went, "Yeah, I've auditioned for them." Oh, and then and I was like, "Yeah, I've done that." And I said, "Do they come in regularly?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay." And then one of them was like, "We'll fly you to LA, and we'll sit you down with top." That's weird. A ghost just came in the door behind. Very good.
Excellent. I think Richard Jackson is projecting himself into your.
He called upon
astral projection.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, they said we'll fly you to LA.
We're fly to LA.
Meet the top casting directors and get to audition in front of top casting directors, and we'll put you up and blah blah blah. 10 grand, please. And I went, not 10. No, it wasn't.
What?
No, what was it? 7 grand or something. Anyway, I said to them, however much it was, and I was like, so presumably you have to audition for this, right? I said, because you know, we're going to get seen by the top Hollywood casting directors, and he was like, yes, you are. And I said, so what's the audition process? And he went, oh, there's no audition process. And I went, so hang on, the only criteria I have to meet is that I have 7 grand. But I said, well, but who's this on the other end? You're not telling me any names that I'm definitely going to meet on the other end of this. So who are these people? These are just people you're paying to turn up. I was like, this is nonsense. It was very much one of those, I'm needed in the basement. You know, like, called his bluff. And then he was like, well, you know, and I just thought, well, this is bullshit. And I realised that all the amount. What frustrates me, I think, is that actors seem like easy prey. And I suppose a lot of people think we're all rich kids. That's what pisses me off. There's this assumption that we're all rich kids, we've all got daddy's money, and we'll just do anything, and we're all naive dipshits. And I don't have the time or the resources to waste on things that aren't actually opportunities. You know, it was just like,
no, that sounds like such a con. It's awful, and you're better off spending that money on a hotel, a plane ticket, and just going out for pilot season.
Yeah.
That's literally it. And that's probably what they do.
Yeah,
that's
I don't even think
it
was that. I think it was just something they set up with Joe casting director blogs, and you went out and, you know, God knows who they were. God. And I said, you can't even tell me the name of the person I'm going to go and see. I was like, what? Yeah.
That's awful.
It really is. So I got quite cynical. I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to knuckle down and be like, I know what I need, and I'm gonna fight for that. You know, and I think in some ways it's worked. In other ways it hasn't.
Oh, definitely.
Exactly.
You get to work with me, and I only charged you $4.5 grand.
$4.5 grand.
Remember? You get to work with Michael Geary, the man who nearly shot himself.
The deflicate goblin. Not goblin. What is it? Hobbit.
I'll take Hobbit. I'll take Goblin. I'll take any of them.
No,
I don't care. I'll do any mythical creature. I'll do it. No problem. I'll do it. I'll be there. If you need a beard, no problem. Under 6 feet, that's fine.
For that.
Big nose, got it. Yeah, I've got a Geary trench for that. No problem. Sebum
or Gordon?
Have a heart.
Yeah, no, mate, it's a pleasure working with you. And look, I'm getting a 2 for this year. I'm getting gearied.
Well, you must have done something wrong in the past life. You're on the A. Yeah, well, they're digging the trenches as we speak.
Throughout subterranean London and Bath.
Yes,
Indeed.
exactly.
Yeah, that's it's
It's
great.
gonna be exciting
I'm
stuff.
super excited, and we're going to, I think, with Mark's permission, try and do a bit of behind the scenesy stuff for the channel as well. That's my hope, anyway. Is that we can maybe do a little bit cheeky on set stuff for you guys here at Val Verde Towers, who've been super supportive of us over certainly over lockdown. I mean, look, I think we're coming out that we're very much emerging from our burrows, from our sebum and wood shavings encrusted burrows, and it's really wonderful in that things have come back. Things have really bounced back, which is fantastic. Mark gives his blessing, so that's wonderful. So I want to sort of, because as we're shifting into that, and like Richard's work has started to explode and my work started to explode, which is really great. We want to kind of not leave the channel behind, or and certainly not you guys at Patreon. We want to kind of make sure you're all supported, so we want to kind of bring you more exclusive content and figure out what that's going to look like, because the live streams, I think we're going to try and do one next week, but really that's probably going to be it as far as regular live streams on a Thursday, because we just don't know. I mean, I'm going to be going into production at some point thereafter, and with Mike, and we're going to be, I should say, going through, and it's just not going to be, it's just not practical to sort of make sure that we're available at those times anymore. So we just want to make sure that we're bringing you kind of exclusive stuff and cool stuff, and we're going to do that. So I think that would be a cool way to do it. I need to get better at vlogging, which is a term I hate, but I need to get better at it. And then me and you can record our fart jokes, our on-set antics. And
yes, that'll be great.
Yes.
Let's do that, and we can split our diopters to our heart's content.
Diopters.
I'll split yours, you can split mine, no problem.
So no, it's super exciting, and I would love to.
Good.
I'd be great to work with Brad again soon as well. I know he's got. Brad has been. Brad's like the sun. He's been exploding, which is not a sex thing. Has been exploding, isn't it?
Isn't it? Isn't it though?
But he's been exploding over the last couple of years anyway. But he did COVID, schmovid, as far as he was concerned. I think he was just carried right on, which is wonderful. So I'm hoping we can tie up with him as well. It could be. Look, let's get a Geary Casey, Brad Watson production. Come on, Brad. You know you want to.
Absolutely. Let's get a blob of Brad.
Let's dab a Brad all over this Geary Duncan salad that we've got going on. That sounds great.
It's fine. What that it sounds rude, and if it is,
and if it doesn't, I'm out. Because
I'll make it rude. Don't worry.
All right. Well, look, let's call an end to this meeting of the Midnight Society of Beards, and and
you have some work to do, young Casey.
Do you know what I'm doing? Because I don't know yet who Mark's casting me as, or if he indeed is casting me. I don't even know that. But I'm working on the assumption of one of the characters I'd quite like to have a moustache, because he's a bellend.
Oh yes.
But he starts out as a bellend, but I kind of had this idea that if he had a moustache, it would give it would be a sort of him trying something new that everyone could take the piss out of him for. So I kind of like that idea. So I thought I would just do it, and then if he doesn't like it, I can get rid of it. But yeah.
And if it makes you feel any better, to me, Duncan, you've always been a bellend.
Yes.
So without effort,
it's effortless bell.
That's my gift to you.
It really is.
Bellendia, effortless.
Oh, okay. He says he's casting me. Okay, good. Well, I know I have a job. I definitely have a job. But thank you, Mark. Thank you very much.
Hey.
No, I'm super excited, but just need to decide which one. So, well, it could be a mustachio or not, depending on how that shakes down. But yeah.
I want the moustache.
I think it's funny because I think it's
going to be great.
How can I feed into? I can't talk about it. I can't give anything away. But it's like he spends. Put it this way: one of the characters spends his time at odds with someone else a lot, and I thought if I gave them something to take the piss out of him for, I think that would be quite funny. But it doesn't matter. But the other character,
right.
yeah. Anyway, that's not. I don't want to sway Mark because I kind of. Yeah. Anyway, don't forget that. But I'm excited. It's going to be good. It's really fantastic. So, Yes. All right. Cool. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you interminably, if that's the appropriate adjunct, for joining me, Mr. Geary. It's always a pleasure.
You are interminably welcome.
And look, hopefully,
it's been lovely. Thank you so much for having me. I loved it. And thanks for everyone for welcoming me.
We shall.
It's really nice.
Hopefully, be coming to you live from a set sometime soon, which is cool. Yeah.
Exciting. That'd be great. We'll have some adventures. We'll do some fun stuff.
All right, guys. God bless you guys. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Nostar. Good night. Bye.